built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Welcome to the Tristan Law Show. If it's your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I am Tristan Law. And today we are going to be doing something a little bit different today. I got one of my good friends joining me. His name is Ricky Pryce. I met that good brother way back when I started wrestling. And I want to introduce you guys to him. Here is one of my good friends, Ricky. Ricky, say what's up to everyone.
What up, everyone? How we doing?
Yo, it's so good that we're sitting here joining today. I love your background. I love what you got going on. Pro wrestler extraordinaire. You were just on TNA wrestling. You know, even though you weren't on the winning end, but you were still on TNA. That's still a plus. You know, in the background.
It's technically a secret. You gotta be quiet about that. Oh. It's Secret Service stuff. We don't talk about that.
I can't tell anybody.
No.
Okay, well, you know what? We'll pretend like it didn't happen. I see you got that ECPW Tag Team Championship in the background. And what's that?
Yeah.
What's that underneath that?
This is a Ricky Pryce signed Prince Akhenaton 8x10 that my dad had framed for Christmas. The story behind that was a couple of my dad's friends were drinking at a show we were doing, and Prince was selling 8x10s, and they said, we only want to buy stuff with Ricky Pryce's name on it. So Prince signed Ricky Pryce's name and sold it to them.
Hey, well, you know what? It works. It works. So we can't really, complain too much about that. If it doesn't matter whose name on it, there's a name on it, and hey, Prince did it. You said you were telling me earlier that there's a poster of me. Like, how do you have a poster of me in your bedroom? Oh, looks like we lost his audio. Looks like we lost Ricky Pryce's audio. Nope, still can't hear Ricky Pryce. Oh no. What's happening here in the YouTube world? So we don't have any audio with Ricky Pryce right now. So yeah, I'll just sit here and then we'll just talk for a little bit. But yeah, so I've known Ricky for maybe about 3 years now. And maybe you could restart Ricky, restart and just jump back in. I've known Ricky by accident. I got a job at the radio station, a small radio station in town. And what happened was that when I was working there, I was just a board op. And my job was just to make sure that the radio station was on the air. That was my job. That was my sole job. I had no other job. And pretty much what happened was that somebody told me, hey, do you know Ricky Pryce? I go, no, I don't know him. They go, oh, he's a wrestler. And we happened to befriend each other. And yeah, Ricky, you back?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Let's get you.
Right. I got a phone call, and the phone call messed up my audio. So sorry about that.
Hey, that's okay, brother.
No one ever calls me until it's important.
They probably were calling to tell you, hey, you're on the best podcast that I've ever seen on YouTube. But Ricky, who is Ricky? Who are you outside of the ring?
I'm a pretty mellow guy. I don't do as much as it might seem. I like to just hang out with my dog. I like to go to the gym. I'm low key. I'm very low key outside of wrestling, and wrestling is pretty much everything. So it's pretty much all I do. So there's really not much to it other than just what you see. I do my thing, and I go to the gym, and I hang out with my dog, and then I make sure everything else is taken care of in the meantime. So that's all there is to it, man.
And what's the moment that you decided to yourself? We all have this moment where, as pro wrestlers, that we wake up and say, I want to be a pro wrestler. What's the moment that you woke up and you decided that you were going to be a pro wrestler?
So it was always something that was on my mind. I went to school at Oswego State, and when I was in Oswego, I went there for broadcasting. That's how I ended up in radio, and that's eventually how we met. I heard you telling the story when I was trying to reconnect there. That's a small world, right? Like, it was just two guys working at a radio station. They're like, wait, you're a wrestler?
Right.
You're a wrestler?
Right.
And then without you, I would have never been invited to ECPW the way I was.
And without you, I would have never gotten the opportunity on the radio. So you don't understand. If I ever wrote a book, bro, you're in my book. Because at the time, you wanted to do wrestling and I wanted to do radio. I did wrestling and you did radio, and we switched. We networked with each other, and it all worked out for us. I'm sitting here talking on the mic. I was actually the live morning show host for the country music radio station. Do I like country music? No. But when they asked, I loved it, and I did it. Okay, and look at you, touring around, going to TNA, and you just wrestled in Vegas. I'm proud of you, bro.
Reno. I got to be specific. It was Reno.
There's a difference?
A lot of people... There's a difference.
Oh, right. Vegas is not the name of the state. Right. You were in Nevada. You were in Reno, Nevada.
I was in Nevada. I lived in Reno for about 6 years when I was a kid, from fourth grade to like the middle of ninth grade, somewhere in there. I don't have that area. I don't really have the specifics of it, but I made a lot of friends there. I had a lot of time there. I'm a Nevada Wolfpack guy for life. I'll tell you what, but lived there. And I wanted to go wrestle there. So my family still lives out there. My mom lives out there. My grandfather, my cousins, who are the closest things to brothers I'll ever have. I have a lot of friends out there that they all came out and hung out and watched me, and it was an awesome time. It was great. So great that they invited me back. So sometime in the next year or so, I'm sure I'll be back at All Pro Wrestling Nevada, doing my thing. It was a good time. Very happy about it.
So what's the moment that you decided that, hey, I'm going to go be a wrestler?
Always wanted to do it. like I said, I was sitting in college, getting my degree for broadcasting, which I can't believe how much of broadcasting I use in wrestling. I'm sure you can understand that as a broadcaster yourself. There's a lot that goes into it because there's show production, there's talking in front of a live crowd, there's talking in front of a live camera. There's so many aspects that I could sit here and get detailed into, but I learned that at school, and it's paid off a lot. It's helped me become a professional. It's helped me, conduct myself in locker rooms as if like a lot of these, locker rooms are job interviews per se, or just different TV studios that I might have been working in when I was in college. But I always wanted to do it. So when I was in college, I was just looking up schools to go to, and I saw ECPW, and I saw like the Worldwide Dojo, but they were at that time they were a little too far away from what I thought was a close drive. Now I realize everything is far away in wrestling, so you got to make the drives no matter what. So I graduated college. I was working at a gym locally, and when I was working at that gym, I met Travis Dorian, the blue collar brawler, who I recently had a singles match with at New Era Pro Wrestling as a part of his last couple matches he was going to have before he retired officially. His retired match just happened this past weekend at New Era Pro Wrestling. But Travis was a wrestler, and I asked him where he went to do that. He pointed me towards Backbreakers Entertainment, which was running in Scranton at the time. I think that was in like March of 2019, and then by September I was in the door training with Justin Glory, and ever since then I've been doing it, and here we are. Over time I found ECPW through you. Thank you. Just working at the desk. You're a wrestler, I'm a wrestler. Oh shit, here we are. Now I'm an ECPW Hudson Valley Tag Team Champion. I have been since May of 2023. Last year, me and Stax were the Tag Team of the Year over there. And this weekend, we're going to be in Kingston, New York. A unique match. They're at a point now where they don't know who to put against us, so they're going to have a 20-man or however many men battle royal, and the final two competitors will get a shot at me and Stax later that night.
And that's this Saturday, right, in Kingston, New York?
This Saturday in Kingston, New York, bell time 7 o'clock. You can see matches like Miggs and Tamir for the heavyweight championship. There's a 3 stages of hell match between Attilio and JT Metal for the viral championship. And then Kingston's own Rick King will be taking on Beautiful Buddy Thomas. And that's a match that has been building for quite some time now. And hopefully this is the last one because I think those guys are tired of each other.
Well, you know what? If you don't have somebody to wrestle, maybe I can get in that battle royal this Saturday. But what were some of the challenges that you faced early on getting into the pro wrestling business?
I think some of the challenges were being eager to want more and trying to find a way to find more. And what I mean by that is like, yeah, I was wrestling in one spot, but I saw a lot of other people wrestling on multiple shows in different places. And it's like, how do I do that as a new guy? So what I would do is I would show up and I would help with the ring crew, and over time it paid off. And then I had a few places that I was consistently getting reps at, and now it's gotten to a point where those reps have paid off, and I'm at a lot of places consistently. So that was one of the early challenges, was trying to get booked more, and I'm still trying to get booked more because you can never have enough of them, I think. I just want to wrestle. I want to show everybody what I got, what I can do, and do it as much as I can. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge, or was it the biggest challenge? And I think maybe the biggest challenge that I deal with now is still doing that because I want more. I have a lot on my plate, but I could have more, and I want more on my plate. So feed me more, please. Shout out Ryback. Not shout out Ryback.
That's somebody else's gimmick. Don't get in trouble for gimmick infringement. So
no, I don't want. I'm just kidding.
We all have a moment that told us that we want to be a pro wrestler. What events or matches persuaded you and really cemented it in your mind that you need to go out there and beat your body up for the entertainment of other people?
God, I don't know. I think it's just been a feeling I've always had. I'll tell the story how I got into wrestling, and that'll be my answer for your question, because I think that's the best way to describe it. Because ever since then, it's all I thought about is wrestling. When I was in first grade, a couple kids in my class brought Hardy Boy action figures to show and tell. And I thought they were the coolest things in the world. And I asked them, I go, what is that? And they told me it was wrestling. So I went home and said, Dad, what is wrestling? I want to watch wrestling. And he turned the TV on, and the first match I saw was The Undertaker versus Tommy Dreamer. It's the first match I remember seeing. And then for some reason in that match, Tommy Dreamer was like had a bucket of puke. He was the gimmick in the match was he had like a fever or something, and he was throwing up. And the Undertaker eventually poured all the puke on him. And I told Tommy that about a year ago. I doubt he remembers that, but I met him for the first time, and I told him, I go, hey, the first match I ever watched was you and Undertaker, and he poured puke on you. And ever since then, I've just been obsessed with wrestling, and I knew I wanted to be a wrestler since I was a child. And here we are. So that's my answer for you.
Sitting here on the Tristan Law Show at a random, Tuesday, and if you have any messages or questions for Ricky Pryce, feel free to drop them in the chat. And if you are watching this on demand, you're not watching it live, still drop your questions in the chat, because Ricky could always come in and answer your questions. Or if it's a general question, I can go ahead and answer on behalf, possibly. Tell me about your first match. What were your feelings going into that first match? What did it feel like stepping into that ring for the first time?
My first match was incredible. It was against MJ Stacks, my tag partner. And we did it at the Falcon's Nest in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Mayfield, Pennsylvania. And we were best friends that got into it with each other. We spent every time training on the road with each other. Literally every training session was with each other. So when we found out we were going to have our first match against each other, we knew it was going to be special. And to top it all off, we probably had 200 people from Port Jervis drive an hour to Scranton in the snow because it was a really snowy day, and the show still went on because of this. Just to see this match, and it was just so surreal because that's your first match. You're always going to remember it, but like because we sold as many tickets as we did, we were pushed onto a significant part of the card. We're the co-main event. And if you go back and watch that match on YouTube, that crowd doesn't shut up for 1 second during that whole match. They are so hot. They were ready for that match the whole night. Again, the whole crowd was about 200 of our closest friends and family. So like combined. So like they lit the roof up, and that was so special. I remember coming through the curtain for the first time and hitting my pose and just kind of looking around behind my sunglasses thinking, holy shit, like there's so many people here, and all their phones were like this in our faces, and I was just like, this is unreal. And from that moment, man, I've just been tapped in. So it was that first match couldn't have been against anyone better. MJ Stacks, I love that guy. We got into this together, and we still do it together, and it's just been crazy. So that was the first match.
And a lot of people don't understand what it's like wrestling on the indies. Sometimes when you wrestle on the indies, you may not have that many people sitting there, and you had a bucket ton of people there watching you wrestle. One of the things that I advocate about, because I am a semi-retired independent pro wrestler, and I'm just waiting for the right person to piss me off enough so I can come out, but I advocate for independent wrestling so much. So tell me, what, in your opinion, or in your mind's eye, what sets indie wrestling apart from mainstream pro wrestling like WWE or AEW or TNA, which you wrestled on a couple of weeks ago, but that's a secret.
I would say it's realistically the budget, right? It's the budgets are what make those things different, because if you do the wrestling the right way, what you see on TV and what you might see in an indie show should be the same thing, because really it's all about interacting with the crowd and getting that crowd going. Especially a lot of these indie shows, like especially the ECPW, Hudson Valley ones, for example, there's a lot of families there, a lot of little kids there. So those are the times where you kind of do a little more TV wrestling and you play to the crowd a little bit. You don't necessarily have to have a banger, as the kids say. It's just go out there, less is more, and make sure that crowd feels something by the end of that match. Because if they're making noise for you and you barely do anything in there, you did something right. And that's a smart way to do it. So I would say the biggest difference really is really the amount of people and the budget that these companies have, because obviously smaller companies don't have the budget that the television companies do, and that makes a huge difference. But if you can kind of replicate what you see on TV at these indie shows, then there's going to be some magic there, and you'll probably go home with some fans and selling some 8x10s.
And, definitely budgets is one of the biggest things. Some promoters run a show and just cross their fingers and hope that they make money. Those are some of the challenges that the promoter may face in pro wrestling. What are some of the challenges that Ricky Pryce has faced on the indies?
I would say some of the challenges I've faced is maybe showing up to a show and not getting exactly what I want out of it right away. Maybe not being booked the way I would prefer, or being in spots that, like, in my opinion, make me feel valued. But the way you deal with that is you still show up and do whatever the hell you want anyways. I'm talking like Drew McIntyre and 3MB kind of stuff, right? Like, that guy probably should have never been the 3MB, but he did, and I think him doing that is the reason why he's where he's at right now in WWE. So sometimes you got to show up and you just got to suck it up and take some losses, do stuff you don't want to do, because if you do that consistently over time, the person who's paying you to be there will go, hey, you've earned this. Here's your reward. Now go run with it. And an example I'll use is I started doing shows at a promotion in Scranton called Smash Master Wrestling. I was started from their first show, and I'm still doing shows. They've run 23, 24 shows at this point in 2 years. But I've been on almost every single one, and I wasn't even supposed to be on the first one. I came in as a replacement. But because of how I did business that day and the way I showed up and the attitude I had no problem embarrassing myself in the match I was in, and that helped out. I lost every match for a year there, and it ultimately paid off. And at the year anniversary show, I won a match that was arguably the biggest match of the time to win in Smash Master, which was this scramble. And the scramble theme was, if you win the scramble, you get to pick the match you want next. Well, the same guy kept winning the scramble, and he kept picking scrambles. So for a year, he was undefeated in scrambles until the guy who hadn't won a match at all got in the scramble and won it. The funny part is I was in the first show was the first scramble, and I got pinned in the first scramble. And then a year later, I was the first person to win it other than the guy who won it. So that's storytelling right there, right? That's the stuff that matters, and that's the stuff that if you can carry that out, that's going to take your character and bolster it to a whole nother level, because that's what you need. You need development over time. You can go have matches, meaningless reps and whatever, but that storyline, that patience, and the payoff is a beautiful thing, and it'll help you in so many more ways than you realize at the end of the day. And I'm talking in your envelope, I'm talking at your spot on the card, and I'm talking about what you do at the merch table, because that's how you relate to the fans, is trusting the promoter who's got this vision for you, going, you want me to lose every match for a year? You think it's going to pay off? What do I know? Sure, let's go ahead and do it. And it paid off. And I'm at a spot now with that same company where I feel like I'm one of the guys there that's helped make that promotion what it is at this point. I hope I can say that confidently, and I hope a lot of people there agree with me. But that's because of the patience that I put into the spots that I was given. And because I made the most of the opportunities I had, I was rewarded for it.
Well, that's definitely a huge moment, when you get that recognition. Because a lot of people don't understand is that sometimes, like, it's all predetermined. Yeah, you get the belt, winning the belt's predetermined. But the belt is validation. And it's validation from the promoter that you're doing something right. Right enough that they're deciding that they're going to put your face on the top of the poster, put you on a prominent part of the card, and allow you to bring in extra people and practice your craft. So you winning in the scramble, the second scramble, was one of the most memorable moments. Give me another memorable moment that you've had on the independent scene.
I think probably winning this belt right here was a big one, because me and Stax, we wanted to show off what we could do as a tag team at the time to win the belt. We wanted to be seen as a tag team. We wanted to be taken seriously like that. And we won it in our hometown of Port Jervis in front of a lot of our friends and family, a lot of the same ones who came and watched our first match. So that was about maybe like a year and a few months after we had our first match that we were able to win those in our hometown. And that was another cool payoff, because we're still doing it, and we got the opportunity to show what we could do, and we still do it every single time we defend those or we have a show where those are on the line. So that was a big moment. I could sit here and name 100 big moments, but there's certain ones that I think helped me develop more for those other moments. Like I've won other belts and I've won other titles, and I've had big, in my opinion, probably bigger moments than what this one should have been. But this one set a standard for the rest of them, and it helped me realize how important those payoffs could be. So winning a belt, not necessarily always like a big deal, but it's what you do with it, and it's how you get there, and maybe why you were given that is what's important.
All right, so let's talk about something that's, if you ask me, I think it's a big deal. You know, you've got an exciting match coming up at Phantom 6 Wrestling in Allentown, Pennsylvania. You're teaming with Junie Underwood, and you guys are calling yourself Smash and Burn, but you are taking on the TNA World Tag Team Champions of Ace Austin and Chris Bay. How are you guys preparing for this match, and what can fans expect on September 9th? I'm sorry, September 8th. September 8th is the match.
Let me give you September 8th. Let me give you a little – let me catch you up a little bit, because we just went from talking about MJ Stacks and my tag team with him to my tag team with Junie Underwood, which we call ourselves Smash and Burn. Junie was someone who I met just by having a match with him, and we bonded pretty well after that, and we became good friends, and then people started telling us we looked like each other and that we're twins, and that became like kind of a meme in the locker rooms. But because of all that, we just became closer and closer, and we turned it into a team. We were talking about teaming and possibly doing stuff together, because it's like, well, you're pretty locked into what you want to do, and I'm pretty locked into what I want to do. We think the same. We look, people are already saying, let's just fucking do it and see how it goes. So we did that at Smash Master. We had our first tag team match against Marcus Mathers and Austin Luke. Marcus Mathers and Austin Luke, two great names to wrestle. Marcus Mathers was just over in Japan wrestling for GCW. He's an awesome talent, but we got to have our first tag team match against those guys. And we had an awesome match, and we had great chemistry there. Everything felt natural, and we kind of had a feeling that was going to be the deal, but it paid off, and then we've had a couple cool tag team matches since. And that's led to this match with Chris Bay and Ace Austin, the TNA Tag Team Champions. What was kind of funny about that was we have sat there, me and Junie both, as Secret Service guards for Mustafa Ali at TNA, and sat there ringside watching them have tag team matches because it was what we were told to do that night, and we got to watch them. It was them versus Trent Seven and Mike Bailey. We got a close-up look, so we got to experience that to an extent, and you know, there's this thing I see a lot now. It's all about manifestation. And I saw something on Twitter, and I sent it to Junie. I'm like, you think we can make this tag team match happen? And he was like, I think we can make it happen. And here we are making it happen. And that's going to happen in a few weeks. And to this date, this is probably going to be the biggest match I've had. I think it's going to be the biggest match Junie's had. Junie's had a few cooler things going on than I have, in my opinion. He'll probably disagree with that, but this is a huge opportunity for the two of us, because both of us think that Smash and Burn has some longevity to it. And we both think that this is going to be a really good thing for the both of us. And why not do it against two of the best tag teams, or two of the best in the world, and one of the best tag teams in the world, the TNA Tag Team Champions, ABC, Chris Bay and Ace Austin. I don't know. I don't have any other words other than I can't wait, and I'm excited to show everybody what I can do with some of the best that there is to do it with, because I'm very confident in myself. Junie is very confident in himself as well. And I think together we help each other a lot in the ring, whether we realize it or not. So seeing how that dynamic's going to pay off is going to be great. And this is only going to be like our fifth tag team match together, which is impressive, right, for our fifth tag. But like, it's just because we got something, man, and we both feel it. So we had someone who believed in us, and that's why this match is happening. And I have to give a shout out to Dylan Quinn, the owner of Phantom 6 Wrestling. This is a show, by the way, that is going to be a suicide prevention show. The whole idea of this day is going to be you come out and hang out with us, and you forget about all the things that might make you feel like crap, or that might not make you feel welcome in the world. We want to make you guys forget about that. So come out and hang out with us at, I believe, Country Club Brewing in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. This is an all-day event. There's going to be two shows. There's going to be one at 12:30 and one at 3:30, I believe, unless things have changed. But this is an event. This isn't like a wrestling show. This isn't your traditional wrestling show. This is a hangout event, benefit event with wrestling there, and you're going to get to see some cool names at the show, like Chris Bay and Ace Austin. You're going to see Marcus Mathers there. There's going to be other names there. I might not even know about off the top of my head, but you're going to see him there, and it's going to be a fun day.
Yeah, that's awesome that you guys are having a suicide prevention show. I hope all the brothers go, all the men go, all the people that are struggling in life, maybe that could be the place where they go and they could find some kind of, help that day and put them in the right direction to let them know that they are still worth it. That's an outstanding, reason to put on a pro wrestling show. And that's why I love independent pro wrestling.
And I'll say it like this, man, like wrestling has made me feel very welcomed. Wrestling has made me feel more alive than I ever have, and it's made me very happy. And if I didn't have wrestling, I don't know where I'd be, just because this is all I can see me doing, and this makes me happy. This has changed my life in so many ways I can't even describe. So if I can be a part of an event that might help one person or two people watching us that day change their entire life, change the entire way they think, then it's a win for everybody. So I hopefully that day we touch a lot of people and, change the way they might look at life.
How did you develop your wrestling persona, and what influenced its creation? If it's a persona, it could just be you. You tell me.
That's what it is, man. I think it's just me turned up to 100. You hear that all the time. People say that. But something that I've always been is I've always been kind of a show off. I've always been a little flashy. It's just kind of how I am. But I'm also not that way. I'm also very not too confident in the things I do. And a lot of people will probably get surprised by me saying that. I am nervous as hell for a lot of the things I do. I'm not confident in a lot of the things I do. I just show confidence. And I think when I show confidence and it comes out of me, that's why the most smashing player, Ricky Pryce, that's how he comes out. What's the most smashing player? Dog, players play to win. Players will do whatever it takes to win a match, to win a game, to win whatever it is. You watch football players, baseball players. They're playing to win. They're just not there to be there. They're there to win. Players play to win. Now, smashing, dog, I'm a smashing player, bro, because everything I do, it's big. I don't send people home bored. I send people home going, oh, all right. I like to think my personality comes out, and that's where the smashing comes in.
Well,
so there you go.
Well, speaking about smashing, you definitely, I got smashed a couple weeks ago, but it's a secret. We're not supposed to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it. You were recently on TNA Wrestling. How did that opportunity come about, and what was the experience like?
So I had reached out to their extra team about doing extra work. I got selected to do so, and when you do so, they have a process. You show up, you help set up the ring one day, and then they do their tapings, and you're part of that whole process. You get to sit there and watch, and then I was just lucky enough. I was in the right place at the right time to get picked to do the Secret Service stuff, and it led to what it led to. I was able to do it up in Albany, New York for a loop, and then I was able to do it in Philadelphia for a loop, and both times I got a little action. I got super kicked by Ace Austin the first time, who I'm going to see in a few weeks in the ring.
Get that receipt, brother. Get that receipt.
Yeah. And then most recently, we did the Secret Service gauntlet match, which you can see on TNA's YouTube, where the Secret Service guys had a gauntlet match with Speedball Mike Bailey, and he kicked the living hell out of us. On a humble brag, I had the most offense in. I only kicked him in the leg once, but that was more offense than anyone else got. And then he did what he did to me, and he backflipped on me with his knees twice, and that was the worst feeling I've ever felt in a wrestling ring. I can honestly say that. The first one sucked. The second one didn't suck as much because all the wind was already knocked out of me from the first one, so I can kind of deal with that one a little more. But yeah, man, I got those opportunities, and I think those opportunities helped get certain matches and have people take me a little more seriously, because when they see you doing that kind of stuff on television, it's like, holy shit, this guy really wants to do this. How did he get there? Why is he there? I'm just there because the opportunity was there for me, and you never know. It could have changed my life, and it could have changed my career, and I think in little ways it has already without it being a huge deal. So just again, right place in the right time, knew the right people, had a connection or two that helped me get where I had to get, and made the most of the opportunity. And I hope I get to do more with them, because TNA is got a lot of history. I was a huge TNA fan growing up. Excuse me, I'm going to burp. Never mind, it didn't happen. It went away. I thought it was coming out. I didn't want to just burp in conversation, and it just faded when I put it on the spot. But it's just about making the connections and being a professional when you're in those locker rooms. And I've done that, I think, both times very well. So that's where you see that, man. I hope I get to do it again. And I'm hopefully one day that leads to more work at TNA as Ricky Pryce, and maybe not as a Secret Service guard.
So let's talk about a story or experience from your career that has taught you something significant about yourself.
So I'm going to go back to about maybe a year ago. I did a loop with Gino where we went up to Oneonta, New York, or Morris, New York, or something like that.
For ECPW?
I did this 2 years in a row with him. This past summer, I didn't do it. So my first year, I did it. I did a little more my first year at ECPW. We did like 4 or 5 shows in a row, like over 4 or 5 days, and it was all in different cities and towns. So it was a lot of driving, and there was a lot of hustle and a lot of grinding to get from point A to point B to this to that and have all these matches. So the first year I did it was really cool because it ended with me wrestling Chris Masters and Brawley. It was me and Fandango at the time versus Chris Masters and Brawley. I was less than 20 matches in, and when I saw my name on the card at them, I was like, "Oh what?" I was like, "Me?" I was like, "Why me?" I was like, "All right, whatever, cool, let's do it." And I did it. And that match, a light bulb turned on because those guys made me go out there and just work. It wasn't just like, "Hey, let's call everything back here." It was like, "We'll see you out there, kid." And I was like, "Oh, all right," because that was still very new to me. And shout out to Chris Masters and Brawley that day and Fandango, because they took care of me. And that ultimately turned a light bulb on my head where I was like, "Oh, this is pretty freaking easy if you just listen." And then last year was a little different. That was my first year, the Chris Masters and Dango match. Last year, I had a string of matches that I was not happy with. And that was on myself. Like, I was just like, I could have done better. What's wrong with me? And I think it was because I was doing so much in a little amount of time and I wasn't used to it. And I might have psyched myself out a little bit, but that taught me that, hey, you're going to have these little stinkers sometimes, and that's okay. That's how you learn to get better from them. And but you got to get used to that, because there might be times where you're wrestling 10 times in 5 days, and I know a lot of these guys do that. Like someone like Buddy Thomas, who puts in so much work, and Drew Marston and Tamir, like those guys wrestle a whole lot and they'll do it consecutively. I think recently they had like 15 matches in like 5 days or something like that, because of a lot of the like events and Taco Fest that they do get to do through ECPW. But for me, it was the first time I had gotten to do that at the time, and it just psyched me out. It was a lot of wrestling in 1 week. My body was tired. I wasn't myself, but I had a stinker or two, and that made me go, that's okay. You learn from that. That's how you get better from that. And then that's just how you transition into being better. So you have your highs and lows, and your lows might not be that low, but to you, it might be pretty freaking low. And that's the kind of stuff you need to motivate yourself to be a better wrestler, worker, just person in general.
All right, so since you're talking about motivating yourself to be a better wrestler, worker, and person, individual. What are your future goals in wrestling? I want you to call out promotions that you want to work for right now. It doesn't matter where they are. Call them out and tell us what your goals are for the future.
You know what? I don't know about promotions when that happens. I think my goals are just to end up on television. I want to be on the big screen. I want that. I think we all need that. We all want that. Why are we doing this if we don't want it to eventually pay off to something? At least that's the part of the career I'm in. You know, I might get to a part of my career where it's like, hey, I think my time has gone. What do I have to offer to the younger kids? But right now it's like, hey, how do I make this my life? How do I make this something that this is all I do, and this is all I need to do for work, for making money, for being alive and surviving? I love this. I've never felt so comfortable and natural doing anything. I like this. And I only feel myself getting better and better at it. So my long-term goal is to make this my reality. I say all the time that I don't have a backyard. I want to buy a backyard for my dog so she has somewhere to play in, and I want it to be because of wrestling. I want that wrestling to pay for my dog's backyard, and it will. I'm going to make it happen.
And
if it doesn't,
have a wrestling ring.
whatever. And a wrestling ring,
Because
yes.
I'll come to your house and I'll bring my son to your house.
Hell yeah. We'll teach the little guy how to take some bumps early on. But that's the goal, man. It's to make this my reality. However that means, whether it's like, I don't know, maybe I get hired to be a producer one day backstage and I'm not even taking bumps, but that could be a possibility. I was able to have some conversations with some of the producers backstage at TNA, and I was just like, what do you do and how do you do it and how'd you get here? Because I never completely understood what a producer does. And because of those connections and those insights, it's like made me go, huh, so there's more to this than just getting body slammed or jumping off the top rope. There's that burp. It could eventually lead to something more, and it could be my reality. So you just never know. We'll get there one way or another. I'm motivated for it, and I'm hungry for it, and I won't accept anything less.
Well, since you're hungry, we don't want to keep you much longer. Tell us what's next for Ricky Pryce. Is there any upcoming matches or projects that you want to share with the fans?
Well, the big match on my mind right now is definitely the Phantom 6 Wrestling match, tag team match. Me, Junior Underwood, Smash and Burn versus ABC, Chris Austin. Oh, my God. Chris Bay and Ace Austin. I botched that one, huh? That's what I am tuned into, because that is a big match in my opinion, and I like to find matches that are big or things that I have coming up that are big, and I like to focus on that and that be my motivation for being better. And all the other stuff that's leading up to it, these other matches, how do I use these matches to make sure that this match is going to be the one that's the best out of the series of these other things? Because like I said, I got something this weekend for the tag belts, then I have a festival I'm doing somewhere, and then I'm doing that match. But how am I going to make those two matches important, and how are they going to make me better for this match I have on September 8th? That could change a lot. It could be a match that I send to companies like, hey, this is who we've worked before, so we can fucking work. We worked the TNA Tag Team Champions, and hopefully it goes great. I'm sure it will. I can't wait for it to go great. But that's the motivation right there. It's that next match. That's the most important one I have, is the next match. It's because I got to put everything I have into that to make sure that's the one that people see and go, damn, this kid's good. What do we do with him now? So I like to have my work speak for itself, and hopefully it does. So.
Well, right now it seems like you've got so much going on. I would think that you're probably trying to run for president of the United States, the amount of work and places that you have to visit. If somebody wanted to find out where Ricky Pryce is going to be, you're going to be in Kingston on Saturday, and then you're going to be in Allentown, Pennsylvania on the 8th of next month. But how would they be able to find, where you are going to be if there was one place? Where would they look? Where would I look?
Well, you got my tag right underneath my head there, at the Ricky Pryce. If you look that up on any platform and you find it, you're going to find me. That's where you can see my matches, clips, pictures, what I got coming up, anything. It's going to be at the Ricky Pryce. You can add me on Facebook too. I don't add everybody back on Facebook. Facebook's just too much, and if I add too many people, I see too many people's personal drama on my feed. So you can follow me on Facebook too if you want. I try to keep everything on there pretty business related, and social media. I do push my social media a lot. So if you follow me on there, you're going to see what I'm doing.
Well, Ricky, shout out to you. I will be cheering for you. Definitely for the match this weekend, because I'm looking forward to you winning. I mean, keeping the tag team championships, because if you keep them, I'm going to come for them. I might.
Listen, I think the problem in that locker room right now is there aren't enough young guys that are training hard enough that want to be a tag team to take out me and MJ Stacks. That's what you got to do. That's what MJ Stacks and I did to win those. And we did that over a year and a half ago. So somebody's got to step up at some point and do something to take these away from us. Because if you don't, we're just going to be the forever champs. And that might eventually mean we just have to give them up because no one was good enough to beat us, because we have other goals. But you have to step up. You have to step up and take it away from us. And if that means you and, I don't know, Prince, then that's what it means. I know you guys got the experience. I know you got the reps. I think if you get in there just a little bit, you'll feel it again. So I don't know. Maybe I'm calling you guys out.
Hey, well, you know what they say. Don't wake a sleeping bear.
Listen, dog. I'll throw a football at that bear if it means that bear's going to get up and chase me and make me run for my life, so I can get away from him. Because if I get away from him, guess what? Your dog just got a little faster that day, and I can use that to do something better.
Hey, well, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. That's Ricky Pryce. Ricky, thank you so much for joining us today. We will be looking forward to seeing you retain those tag team championships. We'll be looking forward to you winning on 9/8 against those people from TNA Wrestling. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Tristan Law Show. Remember, if it's your first time, just subscribe. That's the biggest compliment that you can give to me. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive, nothing in sight, forever in flight.